this creation, but in most of the things I do, I'm really motivated by two things. One is conflict, and the other is connection. And so for me, conflict provides a kind of energizing tension. I like to think about integrating conflict at the macro level, like within the very subject of a work, and I also like to think about integrating it at the micro level, so within the body, within the individual body, and how I choreograph it. But connectedness is what I actually really care about. And for me, my greatest desire is always to try to create the conditions so that we can connect performer to audience and audience to each other. And so I thought for this creation I would really focus on those two ideas, conflict and connectedness, and to see what that does in the body and to see what that does in the structure of the work. So I've been trying to make the show as a kind of series of duets. When I think about duets in this context, I'm thinking of a duet between two individuals. And sometimes I think of a duet between an individual and the rest of the group.
Encore, ses mains bougent sans cesse, touchant son menton, son front, sa poitrine, gauche, son cou, sa bouche, sa hanche, droite, gauche, droite, front, menton, cou, hanche, poitrine.
So the actor Marina Hands is the voice of our show, and as our narrator, she is kind of like a pilgrim in our onstage adventure world, and also our guide.
Encore, ses mains bougent sans cesse, touchant son menton, son front, sa poitrine, gauche, son cou.
We've pre-recorded a text that is a kind of in kind of a stage direction style. So she's describing a conflict between two figures, and the same text is repeated many times during the performance, and it never changes. It's always exactly the same words. But depending on how the dancers embody it, the meaning changes.
Se retourne de nouveau, s'appuie sur un coude, tête baissée, tend le bras pour atteindre figure 2, qui reste immobile. Figure 1 tend le bras de plus belle, relevant légèrement la tête. Pause.
There's something powerful, I think, about being in the theater when the audience, or most of the audience, knows the music well. There's a kind of connection that we have through that music that becomes almost like a place, the music itself becomes like a place of communion. So I'm really fascinated by how the body changes how we hear the text. The connection between language and the body is endlessly fascinating for me. How it affects how we see and hear. How the language affects the dancing too has also been very inspiring. It's caused us to move in ways I think we wouldn't have moved in otherwise. So it's amazing to come back here 3 years later after the creation of the season's canon. Most of the dancers in the cast I've worked with before on that creation, and it's been amazing to see how they have grown and how they have deepened the complexity of their dancing. The knowledge that they have now compared to 3 years ago is quite extraordinary. I think that's been the most exhilarating thing about being here this time, is just to see the growth in this company. It's amazing. Coming back here 3 years after season's canon, you know, there's another kind of pressure too, and a kind of expectation that comes with that I'm trying to cope with. I mean, this place has inherent pressure anyway. You're always like, you know, trying to hold yourself up under the weight of the the building and the history and the possibilities of this incredible theater and its incredible artists.